Hi, everyone. It's another Mondays with Melissa, and I'm excited for today because today I'm just going to give you some tools and tricks and different ideas to use with your kids or even for yourself for breathwork and mindfulness, which are two of the things that Hannah and I talked about last week. If you have not listened to my interview with Hannah Talbot from last week, I would encourage you to go back and listen. She is just an inspiration and does such great work here in the Spokane area, but also offers classes virtually. And so you don't have to live in Spokane um, to take her classes. And so it just was kind of fun to hear about her journey and how she got to where she is today and why she does what she does. And so, like I said, two of the things we talked about was breathwork and mindfulness. And so today I'm just going to give you some ideas on how to incorporate breathwork and mindfulness into your everyday lives. So one thing I just want to say first is whenever we are trying something new or adding something new to our toolbox, whether it's for parenting or self-improvement or whatever it is, it's really important that we don't try and do a complete overhaul, because what will happen is you will get frustrated, or you won't see results quick enough. And so you'll quit, or it'll just be overwhelming. There's so many different things that can happen that will deter you from moving forward in a positive direction. And it's easy to just fall back on what we know. And oftentimes what we know is not the healthiest. So what I would like to encourage you is I'm going to give you, I think like 7 or 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ideas today. And so instead of trying to really listen and like, okay, we're going to do all of these, I would encourage you to either save this episode. So if you download it into whatever podcast platform you listen to it, it'll be saved in your files and you can go back and re-listen at any time. Or go to the show notes page on my website for this episode and bookmark it. So you can go back and refer to it as you're ready. And then I would encourage you to just pick one thing at a time. So today, if you decide I'm going to do one of the things I talk about are breathing stickers. It's going to be the first thing I'm going to talk about. And so maybe you say, I'm going to order some breathing stickers and we're going to just do that for the next week or two. And that's all you do. That's the only change you have to make. It's baby steps, you guys. We cannot expect to change everything overnight or even in a few months. It's baby steps. So that is my encouragement for you, is don't get overwhelmed by all of these tools I'm going to give you today. Just know that you can save this episode, save the show notes, come back to it later, and just do one thing at a time. Okay, here we go. So the first, I'm going to talk about tools for breath work first, because one of the things that Hannah talked about on our episode last week is if you only do one thing to take that step into the world of mindfulness, meditation, and breath work, it really is to focus on breath work. And so I'm going to give you some ideas of how to incorporate that. Most of these are going to be specific to parenting, caregiving, teachers, coaches, those of you that have kids in your life. And so, but also know that these can be helpful for you too, as an individual. So the first thing is, if you're watching this on YouTube, you will be able to see everything that I'm showing. If you're just listening, that's okay too, because I will link all of these in the show notes so you can figure out where to find them. Some of the activities that I'm going to talk about today don't have a link to them. So I will make sure that I put little notes in the show notes to help you remember. So first thing are these fun stickers. So this is actually a sticker, and I know you can't see it, but it actually has a texture to it. So it's a little bit bumpy, but not uncomfortably bumpy. It just has a little bit of a texture, so it's not smooth. And these are great because you can put them, for kids, we might put them on their tablet. We might put them on their backpack. We might put them on their lunchbox. We might put them on their bed frame, maybe, on the dinner table. I know, you guys, parenting in this way is so unconventional. Are we not supposed to put stickers on the dinner table? Well, listen, if the dinner table is a time where our kids need to remember to breathe, this may be worth putting that sticker on the dinner table. Okay. So anyway, these are stickers. You just peel off the back, stick it right on, and then it walks you through how to do a square breath. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. And you just can do this with your child. You can encourage your child to use this as a resource to do it on their own if needed. Maybe you ask the teacher if your child can have one of these put right inside their desk, right? So that the person next to them doesn't know they're doing it, but they can just slide their hand inside their desk and follow the square. So I'm going to link these in the show notes because there's more than just square. There's circle breaths. There's the 8 infinity breaths. There's different shapes. There's a star breath. And so I will link these. So if you want to get these, you can. These are super fun, super easy way to help our kids remember to slow down and breathe. Okay. The second thing is kids yoga. So I know I've talked about this before when I chatted with Cassie way back when, I think episode 3 and then episode 4, where I told you about different options of finding kids yoga. And so I just want to repeat that. This is not new information if you've been listening to my episodes from the beginning, but yeah, basically, if we can help our kids learn about yoga and learn about slowing down and moving their bodies in an intentional way and being able to be mindful of how their bodies feel while also incorporating breath work, it just helps them develop a healthy nervous system. So yoga is good for everyone. This would be good for you to get into yoga if you are trying to heal your nervous system or just know that you have your moments, which we all do, right? So kids yoga would be the next one. Then along those same lines, I love these books that I think it's called Paper Pie now. It used to be called Usborne. And so I'm going to show you 2 books that I got from Paper Pie. And again, I will link these so you can go purchase yourself. But this one is Yoga Animals at the Seashore. And there's other ones too. I think there's one in the forest, maybe one at the farm. I can't really remember. I probably just lied to you guys, but there is more than just this one animal book. And it's really cute. It's hardcover. So you can see that if you're watching this, you can see it's actually really thick and well done. The pages are also very thick, but it just goes through different animals and how to do yoga in the way that the animals are doing it. There's even little pictures at the bottom to show you how to do the pose. And this is one tool that you can use with your kids. So if you see that your kiddo is starting to become dysregulated, they haven't completely flipped their lid yet, maybe we get out Yoga Animals and we do it together, right? We wouldn't just hand this to them and say, go read this book, go do the things in there. We're going to do it together. So that is one resource. Another one through Paper Pie is this one called I Breathe. And it's a similar idea, but it's really focused on the breath work. And so again, it shows different ways to breathe. The pictures are beautiful. The pages are nice and thick. It's hardcover, but it talks about when we might need certain breaths. So, we might need to do a lion breath if we are feeling dysregulated and we just go, right, stick out your tongue and do the lion breath. Or we might need to do bunny breaths too if we're feeling a little excited. So we do the 3 quick breaths through our nose. And the pictures are really cute. And there are little kids in the book that are showing the moves. And so whether we're happy, dysregulated, excited, this book, I Breathe, has different opportunities to show like how we might want to breathe to help our body feel those feelings. Okay. And then the last thing with breathing is singing. I know you guys, not everybody has a beautiful voice like me. I'm just kidding. But singing is so great for breathing because we don't breathe the same way. So when we're singing, we're actually doing breath work because I'm going to hold a note, right? And while I'm holding that note, I'm actually letting breath out. And then before I sing the next line, right, then I'm going to take in a breath. And then I'm going to sing again, and I'm letting that breath slowly out. And so singing is a great way to incorporate breath work without like actually realizing we're doing it. So put on some music. I love the Lori Berkner band. Oh my gosh. If you don't know Lori Berkner, you need to look her up. We have listened to her since Haley was like 3. But it's really fun because Lori Berkner has really interactive songs, but you want to sing along. Like there's Okay, here's one, you guys. Mommy has a dog on her head. Mommy has a dog on her head. So I would, that's one of the songs that like gets so catchy and stuck in my head that sometimes I just break out and sing that to my kids because it's in my head still for the last 18 years. But I don't know if you noticed, but as I was singing that, like it wasn't a normal, like in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. It was a longer, extended breath because I was singing. So check out Lori Berkner Band. Maybe just turn on some tunes on the radio in the car, sing along with your kids, find some CDs you can pop in. But singing is a great way to do breath work and help our bodies regulate. Okay, now I'm gonna, I hope you all enjoyed that concert, by the way. Feel free to send me, no, we're taking that out. We're taking that out. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're gonna see that I said, we're taking that out. Okay, so now I'm going to give you 3 mindful strategies that you can do with your kids or maybe even on your own if you need to. So the first is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mindful strategy. And I think I have a handout for this. So if I do, I will link that in the show notes. If I don't, then I'm sorry. But I think I do. So then it's just a good visual to help you remember. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is you are going to tell your child to find 5 things that they see. And you're going to have them tell you out loud 5 things that they see around them. So my Sprite can, the computer, the I breathe book, the breathing sticker, and my sunglasses. I think that was 5. So they're going to tell me that. Then I'm going to say, okay, tell me 4 things that you can hear. They're going to tell me 4 things that they can hear. Well, for me right now, because I have these on, I only hear myself. But I might hear the wind outside. I might hear the cat scratching at the door. I might hear the air conditioning unit. So that we would name 4 things that we hear. Then we're going to say 3 things that we feel. And so then we have to really be thinking about, what does my body feel? Well, I can feel my feet on the ground. I can feel my sweatshirt on my arm. And I can feel my headphones on my ears. So I'm more mindful of what my body is feeling holistically. And then we're going to say 2 things that you smell. And so for right now, I smell the basement because I'm in the basement, that basement smell. And I think I could go like this, put my arm up, and I smell the laundry detergent. So those would be 2 things I would smell. And then 1 thing I taste. And right now I taste the Sprite aftertaste in my mouth because I was drinking a Sprite. So what that does though, is it slows us down and helps us become more mindful of our 5 senses and how our body is experiencing those 5 senses. That can be enough to slow our brains down enough to help us regulate and basically come back online to be able to think clearly and have a conversation or maybe just feel better in our bodies. So that is a great tool to use for yourself. Like I said, if you can feel yourself starting to feel a little panicky, do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you might have to do it over and over, like several times. It might not just take one time. Or you can help your child do that if you can see that they're starting to get a little dysregulated. Okay, the second game is the feelings mirror game. And this one is a fun game where you can make it as complicated or as simple as you want. So if you want to make it more complicated, you would draw out on cards either pictures of little people with feelings. You could even print some online or write down words of different feelings: happy, sad, mad, frustrated, angry, jealous, scared, hopeful, guilty. Write down as many feelings as you can. And then you're going to take turns with your child in the bathroom mirror or a handheld mirror if you want, of drawing a card, drawing a feeling, and then doing that in the mirror. So if I drew scared, then I would show what I think my face looks like when I'm scared. And I'm watching myself in the mirror as well, but I'm next to my child. So we're doing this together, that connected piece. But we're working on being mindful of what our face looks like when we're having these different feelings. So, if I'm looking in the mirror, I draw the scared card. I might do that, right? If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it, but if you're not, I've got my hands on my face. I just took a big deep breath. My mouth went open. My eyes are bigger. then I can be more mindful of what my face looks like when I'm scared. So we're doing this in like a calm, playful time with our kiddo so that when we're in a moment that we're scared, we are more mindful of what we are doing with our body and our face. Okay. So then it's your child's turn. They get to draw a feeling and they get to make the face in the mirror, and we just go back and forth. It's very simple. That's a fun game, right? If you don't want it to be complicated, then you just take turns doing a face, and the other person has to guess what the feeling is. So, I might do this in the mirror, a big smile, big cheesy smile, right? And then my child has to guess what that feeling is. And for me, it was very happy. So, okay. Moving on to the third and final mindful game to play with your child to just help them learn more about mindfulness. It is a mindful nature walk or a mindful scavenger hunt. And again, this can be as complicated or as simple as you want it to be. So if we're going to go with simple first, we would say we're just going to go on a mindful nature walk with our child. And we're going to try and name when we see something, when we hear something, when we smell something, if we feel something, we're going to try and name those out, right? And maybe you bring along your phone and do like voice memos so that your child, feels like you're wanting to write it down. Or maybe you just call it out, and between the two of you, you call it out like, oh, I see that bear over there. I'm just kidding. Or I smell dog poop. You guys, I am going off the rails. I am so sorry. Or I feel a rock in my shoe, right? So this mindful nature walk is allowing us to slow down and kind of pay attention to our senses as we are out in nature, moving through nature. Okay. To make it a little bit more complicated, you could make it a scavenger hunt where you are going to be more specific about I think I might have a worksheet for this. So if I do, I will attach it in the show notes. But you're going to make it more complicated in the sense that you would list out like 5 things that I feel. So I would have something soft, something hard, something crunchy, something pokey, and something wet. Okay. And then we're going to bring a pen or a pencil, and we're actually going to write down anytime that we come across something that feels that way on our scavenger walk, on our mindfulness scavenger walk. We would also maybe write down smells. So something I smell that's sweet, something sour, something gross, right? That one might be a little bit harder. So you might do fewer for smells. And then hearing. So I want something loud, something quiet, something pretty or beautiful or musical, however you want to word it. But basically what you're doing is you're listing out descriptive words for your senses. And then as you're going on your scavenger walk, you're going to be looking and paying attention to listening for these different descriptive words that you can then jot down what you found. So that is another fun way to help our kids learn more about mindfulness, slowing down, paying attention to how our bodies feel and how they respond to our environment. So I hope that these 8 ideas were helpful for you. You will be able to find all of this in the show notes. If you have any questions or you can't find something or you have other ideas, please let me know. I would love to share with our listeners and followers on social media if you have other fun ideas of teaching our kids about breathwork and mindfulness. So we're a community here, right? So let's do that. Okay, you guys, I'm excited for next week. Please come back. Doing this podcast has just been so fun for me, and I love that I have a good group of you that listen every week, and it just makes me feel so happy because really my heart is, if you know this about me, my heart is really to just get more information out there about trauma awareness and connected parenting and emotional intelligence and just how we can raise our next generation to do better and be better, but that we can slow down and also really see our kids and value our kids. So I'm excited for you to come back next week. Please, as always, if you have questions, email me at melissa@mendingfamilieswa.com. And I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your week. Hopefully it is nice and warm and sunny.